I almost quit. I'm a country boy. I'm from West Virginia. I don't know nothing about this big time stuff. I never even asked to be big. I wanted to be effective, not famous. Famous is the consequences of being effective. I didn't know nothing about being famous and I didn't like it. And so there I was, and when you first knew, everybody attacks you first and figures you out later. Because though we say you're innocent until proven guilty, the reality is you're really guilty till proven innocent. I didn't know that then, and I was young, upstart. You have to understand that you're looking at a 60-year-old man, but you're talking about something that's happening to a guy in his late 20s with little kids. And the first time I was in the Washington Post, the article was so vicious it made me nauseous. I was so shocked that you could say that stuff about somebody you didn't even know based on assumptions and a little bit of this and a little bit of that. They piece it all together, and you don't get the same thing back. So I decided I don't want this. I was preaching for Pastor Bishop Donnie Mears, and nobody knew it because preachers can override their feelings and function. I preached, the place was on fire, but inside I wanted to quit. I told God, I'm through with this. I'm not going through this. I don't need this. I don't need that. I'm a guy who likes to go get his own chicken wings. I don't have to have all of that stuff to be happy. Because I wasn't raised with it. I can make it. You can throw me an apartment and give me just a little skillet, a cast iron skillet. You know what I'm talking about? So I thought, I'm not doing this no more. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this because I don't need this and I didn't ask for this. I'm only doing this because of what happened in my life, of the circumstances that happened in my life. He put me on stage. I didn't ask for it. And when I saw how much it cost, I thought, you can have that right back here. You have that right back up in here. I don't need it. So I was mad inside and I was hurt. And I stayed up in the fellowship with the pastors because I didn't want to go back to my room and sulk in my own sorrows. And they said, there's a lady downstairs waiting to see you. The service was over and the fellowship was over. The pastor was starting to leave. I was trying to outwait her. I thought she'd give up and leave. And when I finally came down the steps, she was there. And she was just a willowy bit of a woman. And she said, Bishop James, she said, I've been in the hospital. She said, I was pregnant in my fallopian tubes. And the baby died in my tubes. And I was carrying around a dead baby. And the toxicity from the baby almost killed me. And she said, the only thing that kept me alive was hearing you preach. She said, if you hadn't been preaching to me every day, I swear I would have died. And then she looked at me and she said, it's for us. It's not for them. It's for us. It hit me so hard. I didn't even get her name. I got in the car and cried all the way back to my room because she reminded me why I was there.
Losing, sometimes it will happen. But when you lose, make sure you lose the right way. Humble yourself when you lose. Don't be angry because we got to lose sometimes. Sometimes you may not understand why you're losing, but you will lose. You will fail. But if you're going to fail, fail the right way. If you're going to lose, lose the right way. Make sure they remember you. Make sure anything that's coming after you remembers you. They know that, man, I don't want to meet that person again. I don't want to have to fight that person again. I don't want to have to encounter that person again because of the heart and the will that you had within yourself. Don't submit. Don't give up. Fight through it. Push through it. If you're going to lose, lose the right way. Do you understand what that means? Or you're going to just give in? And then when you lose, you're feeling sorry for yourself. You feel that you're not worthy anymore. You feel like everybody's going to talk about you. No, it's not about the people. It's about you. It's about understanding you. All my life, I've been pushing myself. All my life, I've been digging. All my life, I've been going. All my life, I've been thriving. And yes, I've been knocked down. Yes, I've been pushed aside. Yes, I've been rejected. But I kept going. I kept pushing. I kept believing in myself. I'm not saying that you got to be like me. You and me are two different people. You and me don't necessarily connect on everything, but you got to connect to something. You got to believe in something.
If you think it's impossible, for you, it is. It is impossible. Because you believe in your heart it's impossible. For you, yes, it is impossible. If you think with a I can't do it attitude, guess what? You right.
The majority of people are not successful because they prepare to quit. They have a mental program that it's okay to prepare more for quitting than preparing to succeed. I'm gonna make my dreams a reality. Nobody gonna stop me but me. That's the only person that can. Understand, if you want to make your dreams a reality, you've got to understand that you can't quit.
From all the amazing online courses and amazing content that you've been putting out for decades, if there is one thing that you want people to get from all of that, what is that?
I just want to get people where they are, right? So, like, it depends on what they're reading. If they're reading the Millionaire booklet, it's one thing. If they're reading Sell or Be Sold, it's something else. You know, I think if they were to get one thing, it's they can be better. They can be great. Everybody can be great. If I can make it in my, as offensive as I am. I mean, I'm the guy with the T-shirt that says, "Hey, I apologize in advance." So, if I can make it, I have not collaborated with other people. I didn't come from money. I had no connections. I have refused to not be myself, and yet somehow I made it. And so the one thing is if you just don't quit, if you refuse to quit, you will not fail. I've just held on to that the whole time. And if I just don't quit and then keep learning, because not quitting means I don't just keep trying the same thing over and over, beating on the same door. I need to maybe research some other ways to get in the room.
Life is worthwhile if you try. Give it every effort. So don't be afraid to try. Don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to make a mistake, because that could be the greatest period of learning. This is the secret to success. I got up and did it again. Even though I was scared to death, I got up and I did it again. And that second one wasn't too good, but guess what I did? I did it again, and I did it again. And I worked up my courage, and I did it again. I committed to it, and I did it again. And finally, it got to be a little easier, and I did it again.
To make that variable, which is you, powerful, here's something to consider. It's called the 4 ifs that make life worthwhile. Here's the first one. Life is worthwhile if you learn. You gotta have the information. Without information, our dreams die. We don't have the chance to capitalize on opportunity without the information. So you have to learn, you have to know. It's very important to make life worthwhile. First, you've got to know. We learn first from other people's experiences that come along and teach us, like HBN, like the workshops, like the classes, like the seminars being done around the world. One unique way of learning from other people. But also you've got to learn from yourself. If you've had a poor week, just sit down and go over that week and say, what mistakes did I make? What did I leave undone that I should have done? Here's a couple of things. If I would have done this, I'm telling you, it would have been a different week. If you'll treat it that serious, you can learn whatever it takes to make your life worthwhile.
Thank you so much for watching till the end. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Please also like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends and families. Please watch our other motivational videos. Thank you again.
You really do, man, if you want to be successful, because it's going to be a lot of trying times. So you have to have a tremendous work ethic. But you got to have faith. Faith without works is dead. Albert Einstein said once, he said, imagination is everything. It's the preview to life's coming attractions. Everything you have, everything we have in this world, somebody imagined it. It's your imagination is tremendous. Somebody was sitting on the phone one day talking with a cord to the wall and said, man, I wish I could just go outside with this phone. Everybody in here got a cell phone. Somebody imagined that. Somebody got tired of riding in a wagon cross country from slavery to freedom. Somebody said, I wish we had something that made these wheels move by themselves. We drive cars. People got tired of driving from New York to LA. Somebody said, I wish we could fly. We got airplanes. Imagination is everything. It's the preview to life's coming attractions. Your real life, the one God really got for you, is in your imagination. It is not in your current situation or your current paycheck. And if you've been living like that, you have then restricted yourself to a commonality that is really not yours. Because what really God got for you is really in your imagination. Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. So when I told you a minute ago, you got to have a tremendous work ethic, but you got to have a lot of faith. I talk to so many people who get older, like some of us are, and they've lost the faith. Well, faith is really simple. Faith is the substance of things hoped for. All that means is in the beginning, you just hope something pop off. You know, you just kind of hope something happen for you. I was hoping I would get on TV. I wrote it on a piece of paper when I was 10. I want to be on TV. The problem I had when I wrote it at 10 was I suffered from a severe stuttering problem. I could not talk outside of my house. So can you imagine when I wrote on a piece of paper, I want to be on TV and turned that in. But when I wrote it on the paper, it wasn't factual. It's just hope. You just got to start with the hope. Faith is the substance of things that you hope for. You just hope something, Joe. Then what happened is through grace and favor, he give you a couple of them things you hope for, and then you're supposed to start believing then, because now it turns into faith. But if you take this scripture, faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. What is the evidence of things not seen? I just told it to you. Albert Einstein said, imagination is everything. It's the preview to life's coming attraction.
When we allow our dreams to pull us, they unleash a creative force that can overpower everything in our way. To unleash this power, though, your dreams must be well-defined. A fuzzy future has little pull power. Well-defined dreams are not fuzzy. Wishes are fuzzy. To really achieve your dreams, to really have your future plans pull you, your dreams must be vivid. If you've ever hiked a 14,000-foot peak in the Rocky Mountains, one thought has surely come to mind. How did the settlers of this country do it? How did they get from the East Coast to the West Coast? By foot. Carrying one day's supply of food and water is hard enough. Can you imagine hauling all of your worldly goods with you? Mile after mile, day after day, month after month. These people had dreams, big ones. They had ambition. They didn't focus on the hardship of getting up the mountain. In their minds, they were already on the other side. Their bodies just hadn't gotten them there yet. Despite all of their pains and struggles, births and deaths along the way, those who made it to the other side had a single vision: to reach the land of continuous sunshine and extraordinary wealth. To start over where anything was possible, where everything was possible. Their dreams were stronger than the obstacles in their way. You've got to be a dreamer. You've got to see the future finished in advance. You've got to see California while you're climbing 14,000-foot peaks. You've got to see the finish line while you're running the race. You've got to hear the cheers when you're in the middle of a monster project. And you've got to be willing to put yourself through the paces of doing the uncomfortable until it becomes comfortable. Because that's how you realize your dreams. Our great country was founded with dreams. They've always been important. Dreams are what caused thousands of people to leave their homes and families and start over in a land where anything was possible. To this day, dreams continue to bring people to our land of opportunity.
to a country where you can start with little and end up with a lot. To America. Don't you sometimes wonder why so many immigrants who come to America can build a new life and a fortune while many of the people who were born here are barely surviving? They have a dream, a defined goal, ambition. Aside from the pioneers that crossed the prairies and the mountains to reach their vision of hope and future promises, there are other amazing examples of how ambition has shaped America. Take Ben Franklin, for instance. When most people think of Ben Franklin, they remember the kite and the lightning bolt and the discovery of electricity. What a lot of people may not know is that Ben Franklin was one of the first writers to address self-making. When Franklin started Poor Richard's Almanac in 1732, he used the blank spaces between the crop data and the weather information to insert clever bits of moral and practical advice. I'm sure you've heard the saying, fish and company start to stink in 3 days. Well, that was one of hundreds of Ben Franklin's comments on life. Another was, diligence is the mother of good luck. You know, it's amazing how hard-working, smart-working people have all the luck. We sometimes hear of a brand new musical group, an overnight success. They must have been in the right place at the right time, knew the right people, had a friend to help them out.
Everybody in your life will have a turn back moment. No matter who you are, you're going to have such a period in your life where it seems like it's not working. You're going to have doubts, you're going to have a lot of trials and tribulations and challenges, and everybody has what's called a turn back moment. You always have a moment in your life where the direction you're going, you will have to make a decision to keep going or you turn back. The sad thing is, the average person turns back. But think about this. If you're going somewhere and you turn back, you can never get there. If you wake up every day and go get in your car and say, I'm going to the store, and halfway to the store you turn around, and then the next day you go to the store and you turn around, you do realize that you'll never get to the store. So whatever you needed from the store now is even a greater need because you turned back. And every time you turn back, it does not change the need. So what kept me going was, I made turning back, giving up, never an option. And I had really dark moments, man, where I thought I just didn't think I was going to make it. I mean, where I am today, I didn't see it clearly at all. I had a lot of turn back moments. But you know what it was for me, man? Being successful is so hard, but I realized that not being successful was hard too. The difference between not being successful hard and trying to get successful and hard, if you're trying to get successful and it's hard, at least there's some payout. There's a payoff. If you hang in there, there's payoff. When you're not successful, it's hard. It's hard not having money. It's hard never knowing how to come up with your mortgage and your bond and your rent and your let. It's hard not knowing that. How you gonna feed your children? How you gonna pay your bills? It's hard, ain't it? So if it's hard that way, and it's hard being successful, I might as well deal with how hard it is to be successful, because at least one day that could be a payout. If you just stay in the hard part of life of not being successful, ain't no payoff. There's no result for being poor. It's just mo-po. You just po some mo. There's no payout. Just make the decision that you're not going to be poor anymore. You have the right, don't matter how you were born. I was born very poor. My father made $5 a day, $5 a day. We had 5 children.
Stop coming up with excuses. Don't give yourself permission to continue to live a small life. You can't fit a big dream into a small life. Give yourself permission to go for it, to test yourself, to challenge yourself, to live full. I like the saying, always strive to get on top in life, because it's the bottom that's overcrowded. The reason you're here is because there's something in you that says, I can do more. This just can't be it. There's something in you. There's a calling on your life. There's something in your heart that caused you to get dressed and spend the money to go to seminar after seminar and listen to message after message and speaker after speaker. Because there's something in you that tells you This is not it for you. You have not peaked here. There's more in you that you are expressing. Eye has not seen, ear has not heard, nor has entered the heart of mankind what's in store for you if you challenge yourself, if you persist and persevere, if you take ownership for your life. George Bernard Shaw said the people that make it in this life, they look around for the circumstances that they want, and if they can't find them, they create them. Create what you want. You have the power in you to do more than you can ever begin to imagine, to control your destiny, to make a difference in our children, to make a difference on the planet, to make an impact. Let us say together, it's me. And let us say together, it's hard. Say it like you know it. Say it's hard. Ladies and gentlemen, it's hard. There are people who have seen their retirements taken away from them by the corporations that they work for. They were within 2 or 3 years of retiring, and they had it taken from them. The #1 entrepreneurs in this country now are senior citizens. The #1 employer, #2, McDonald's and Walmart. And there's nothing wrong with those jobs. I guarantee you those people did not have a plan to end up living their lives at the end of life with those types of jobs. And they didn't have a plan like you have, and while you're investing in yourself, not to.
Here's the greatest essence of life, and that's living well. Weaving a tapestry of life experiences. What constitutes a good life? What is a good life? Because that's the highest essence of life, is to live a good life. Let me give you a pretty good list. Here's #1, productivity. You won't be happy if you don't produce. That's why the 6-1 was arranged, so that you spend the greater part of your life and your time producing. Producing a working day, produce an idea and make it fly, produce an enterprise and make it grow, produce a relationship and give it life, to produce, to create progress. You won't be happy if you don't produce. Work to do that. There's an ancient script that says, the sleep of a laboring man is sweet. Someone who labors to produce with their hands, who works hard, that sleep is sweet. Not the sleep of a goof-off man, not the sleep of a drifting man, the sleep of a laboring man. Somebody who works, puts in the time and the effort and the work and the labor. Whether you labor with your hands or labor with your voice, or whatever you do, physical, spiritual, personal, that labor produces good sleep. So we must produce. But here's the rest of a good life. Next is friendship. The greatest support system in the world probably is friendship. And you've got to nourish your friendships. Don't lose contact. Keep in touch. We all have to work on that. Letting too much time go by between visits and conversation and telephone and letters, personal contact, so that you keep alive this reservoir of goodwill in terms of friendship that can give you support when you really need it. Develop this support system. Good friends, those people who know all about you and still like you, right? Good friends. Next is your culture. America understands this probably better than any other country. The dynamics of culture, especially the dynamics of multiculture. A single culture is dynamic, but when you put together multicultures like America, it can produce the most stunning results. It can produce the most incredible wealth, such as never been known to the world in 6,000 years. The wealth that has been created by multicultures working together, contributing to each other. What one lacks, the other one's got. What one got's, the other one shares.
The state we're in the moment, the state we're in at any moment, powerfully impacts the meaning we associate to something. The state we're in the moment, powerfully impacts the meaning that we associate to something or that we assign to something. So one way to change what things mean to you is just change your darn state. Is that true? I mean, if you're feeling great, do things just kind of bounce off you that normally if you're feeling upset? Would you change the way you look at them probably, change the way you feel about it? You bet. So we need to really still manage our state. And we talked about that a great deal last session. I want to make sure that that's part of your life's work. Because your life's work is really learning how to live in a way where you spend most of your time enjoying yourself, very little time in pain. Most of your time in pleasure, very little pain. And living your life hopefully in a way where not only do you feel good all the time, But the people around you feel good just by being around you. Because they're around you, they feel a lot less pain and a ton of pleasure. See, that's my idea of success. Success is when you've learned to live your life in a way where you experience tons of pleasure every day and almost no pain. And simultaneously, where the way you live also causes the people around you to experience very little pain and tons of pleasure. Then you know you're really successful. Because if you feel good and nobody else does, you're a failure. Now, that doesn't mean you go around and try and make everybody feel good. Some people have an investment in feeling bad because they think feeling bad equals feeling good. Are there people that believe that? Yes or no? Yeah, because they think if I feel bad, then people will notice me, or they'll love me more, or they'll help me more, or I'll get more attention, which means feeling good. People have weird crap they work inside their head about how to get to feeling good. Some people think I'm going to feel good when I make $1 billion. Some people are like, when I have this, this, and this, when I get married, have these many children, this and this, then I'll feel good. Some people have, well, I'll feel good if I feel bad, because then people notice me and make me feel good. Or you could just like choose to feel good. Which one do you think might be a more intelligent approach? Because who's in control there? You are. You don't have to worry about the environment. By the way, when you're feeling good, it tends to make you want to feel even better. It makes you share good feelings with other people, which makes them feel good, which makes them reciprocate usually. Not always, but usually. Kind of nice. So the bottom line is we got to manage our state still. And as a reminder, as far as that's concerned, changing state means change the meaning. And the way you can do it is either by changing your what? Anybody remember from last session? Change your what? Change your what? Change your physiology. Physiology, again, means the way you move, the way you breathe, your facial expressions, your gestures. The way you use your body determines the way you feel. You got to remember that for the rest of your life. If you're not feeling the way you want to feel, first thing you do is just change the way you're moving. Emotion is created by what? Motion. Emotion is created by motion. You have 50 muscles in your face. A slight change in any of these muscles will radically change the way you feel. Remember we did this last time, I think. What I'd like you to do right now, real quick, is create some tension in your body, some tension. Then put a big, huge smile on your face while you're doing it and notice how it feels.
I want to talk to you today about you are enough. It's easy to go through life thinking that we're lacking in some area. If we had more talent, then we could do something great. If we had a better personality, if we were more confident, more attractive, then we could reach our dreams. But as long as you're discounting yourself, thinking you're at a disadvantage, it will keep you from rising higher. When God laid out the plan for your life, He carefully studied it. He thought about what you would need and what it would take to get you there. Then He matched you with your world. He gave you the talent you need, the strength, the confidence. You are the right size. You have the right looks. You have the right personality. You come from the right family. You are not lacking. You didn't get shortchanged. You are good enough. You are talented enough. You are smart enough. You are attractive enough. You have been fearfully and wonderfully made. But life will try to push us down. Thoughts will whisper everything that we're not. You're not as talented as your friend. You're not as attractive as your coworker. You're not as smart as your cousin. That's okay. You're not running their race. You don't need what they have. If you needed it, God would have given it to you. If you needed to be taller, you would be taller. If you needed a different personality, you would have one. If you needed to come from another family, that would have happened. God doesn't make mistakes. When He created you, He wasn't having a bad day. He didn't accidentally leave something out. Now you're at a disadvantage. He calls you a masterpiece. You have royal blood flowing through your veins. He's crowned you with His favor. You're not lacking. You didn't get shortchanged. You have everything you need to fulfill your destiny. Now quit comparing your looks, your gifts, your success with somebody else and be you.
Can you really see through the darkness? You are wandering and you have no idea where to go. You are wandering and you have no one to turn to. Can you see? Can you see through the darkness? Can you feel your purpose? Nothing can stop your purpose. Nothing can stop what's meant for you. Nothing around you can stop what's already yours. Your destiny belongs to you. Do you feel it? Do you understand the purpose behind the darkness. It represents something. It serves a purpose. It's an unknown purpose that many of us never would understand. Can you see through the darkness? You travel down this path. You travel down this path of the unknown, and yet you are afraid. You are afraid because you don't understand it. You are afraid because you feel empty. You are afraid because no one is there to help you. I would like to introduce you to the light, to the dawn, to the beauty, to the understanding, and knowing that this is the joy. This is the joy that you must embrace. This is the moment of happiness, without any despair, without any rejections.
We are the revolution if we cease to conform with traditional, programmed, this is how you do it reality. All the great changes of society and changes of anything, the great visionaries, all of them have been ones that have walked out of the program and taking the shit for doing so. Because out of the program is the only way you're going to push on in terms of understanding what life is about, who we are and where we're coming from. The greatest fear in the world is the opinions of others, and the moment you are unafraid of the crowd, you are no longer a sheep. You become a lion, and a great roar rises from your heart. The roar of freedom, of being you and not someone else's version of you. Come out of the masses, stand alone like a lion and live your truth according to your own light, not someone else's version of it. Expressing our uniqueness is a revolution that will change everything, because the program depends on that not happening. It is better to live one day as a lion than 100 years as a sheep. What's the point? Doing what is right, no matter what you are told, is the spirit of change. Because if you don't do that, you're just operating within the circle and nothing changes. You have to step out of the circle and do what you believe to be right rather than what you are told to do, to break out of the program, out of the circle, and thus move society forward. Oh, it's so simple, expressing our uniqueness. Do not go where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail. That's how you change the world. That's how you change the world. It's the only way. Jump! And you find you can fly. Doesn't mean there ain't challenges, but my God, you find your life changes and it becomes the adventure and not the chore.
Let's roll, man. This is starting to get painful. This is uncomfortable. So you sit down. You have to figure out ways, and everybody's different. That's how the book kind of talks about, like, we all have these things about, 5 steps to this and 4 steps to this. It's a lot more than that. That's all bullshit. It's a practice that you have to, it's a habit. So if you know that at 40%, I'm feeling pain. At 40%, I'm feeling pain. That's where the 40% rule kicks in. Now it starts. Okay, I'm feeling pain. My mind's saying all this to me. It's saying, get out of here, run, flee. The fight or flight kicks in. Okay, we're done. We're not good enough. It starts telling you all these things. You start to believe it because the mind controls all. This is the time where you have to gain control back of your mind. It's okay. Let me see if I can go 45%. And once you start giving yourself more and more hope and start realizing, okay, the mind starts to be, okay, what are you doing? We're supposed to be going right and you're going left. You start then controlling your mind. Start finding more in yourself. And then it goes from 40% to a lot further than that. But that's the start of it though. Get to the spot where your mind is saying stop. Wherever that is, you gotta get there first. And then that's when that starts to work for you. You gotta control yourself in that moment.
Your brain likes to gravitate towards what it's most familiar with. The brain loves familiar things, okay? So the more you think about something, the more you place yourself on that beach, in that house, with that amount of money, with that body, the more repetitive it is that you place yourself in those things, those places, and those situations. The more your brain becomes familiar with it, the more it gravitates towards it. You can't think about it once. It's the repetition over and over again. Your brain begins to think, oh, I belong here. We belong here. You actually eventually convince yourself, literally, that you belong in your dreams by the repetitive and specific thinking and visions of them over and over again. One thing to be conscious of is the RAS doesn't reveal to you necessarily what you need necessarily, because what you need has always been there. What it does is it opens you up to seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting the things that you need in order to attract them into your life. The last part of the steps that I want to share with you is that you've got to control the beginning and the end of your day with your thinking. And so one of the first things you need to do when you wake up, after you do your stretching, your prayer, your meditation, whatever it is to take a 5-minute window and control your thinking, whether you after your meditation, your prayer, whatever it is, but you take a 5-minute window and you visually see your goals and dreams. Picture them as videos in your mind. Picture them as you possessing them and see them written down on a sheet of paper. This will begin to control your mind for the day. And then at the very end of the day, what I do, one of the last things I do after my prayer, when I'm laying in bed at night, is I read through my goals and my dreams, I picture them, and I allow my RAS and my subconscious mind to go to work on them. When I get my sleep, it's going to work on revealing to me, it's playing back the video, believe it or not, of my day in my mind, and it is revealing to me the things that I may have missed in that day that could bring those things into my reality, and it helps me wake up ready to get them as well. So if you'll do that, where you wake up, you go to bed, and when you check your phone, you are going to alter those 9% of your thoughts. These are 3 key steps on changing the way you think. And we know if we can change the way we think, we change the 9% of our thoughts, we change what we obsess about, we begin to possess them. That thought opens up a new space that didn't exist before, just like that chair you're sitting in, and we'll begin to create those things in our lives. Use these 3 steps to change your thinking, and I know if we stack that up over a day, a week, a month, 3 or 4 years, and a decade, the direction of your life is completely different. You see yourself living like this.
You know what you should do? Every time you get a chance to experience first class, you should do it, because it plants a seed. It's like the next time you buy an airplane ticket, just ask for an upgrade. Pay a little extra money to fly first class. What it does is it conditions your mind. Once you get in first class and you see how wide the seats are, and you find out why they shut that curtain, see, because they shut that curtain because they can't let you see what's going on up there. They passing out hot nuts. Everybody get a washcloth. They got a menu. You get to decide what you want. All the drinks is free. Once you sit in first class one time, the next time you get on a plane, it's very difficult to walk past them seats. And then your mind starts thinking of ways to get back to first class. And guess what? That's what you start attracting to your life. And you start behaving and producing stuff to get you back into first class. And next thing you know, you attract the thing you need to produce the outcome that you want. Life is all about the law of attraction. That's how you do it.
Your single tasking. Now, here's some of the keys. Again, I teach these in my programs. Number 1 rule is do things faster.
That when you look in the mirror, that's the one person you can't lie to. So every morning I would shave my head thinking, God, I would reflect back on some of the lies I may have told somebody or some of the ways I acted I didn't feel comfortable doing. And I did it to impress other normal people.
But watch this. When I bought the house, she's so D, because you get the D's confused. She's so D that she knew I don't need to deal with that. You deal with that.
I know life will back you down. I know life can be tough. But you are on a journey. You know my dad would say, go get it, son. Go get it, be sweet this week. Go get it, be sweet, baby, go get it. Be sweet, baby, go get it, be sweet, baby. Every time I left the house, my mom would say, be sweet, baby, be sweet. My dad would say, go get it, son, go get it, son, go get it, be sweet, go get it. Be sweet, go get it, be sweet, go get it, be sweet. You got to be ready to fight and bounce back parts and counter punch, jab and jab back. Let me tell you something, life is a series of fights. The worst thing you can do is run away from your fights. In order for you to rise up, you better take your game to the next level. Your mindset needs to go to the next level.
In other words, pick up the pace. Move quicker. If you want to get more done, move quickly. Pick up the pace. Just move faster. Just move. Just imagine you're under a deadline. The other end of the building is on fire. You've got to get this done. It's absolutely amazing what happens when you put yourself on. Number 2 is work longer and harder. As Jim Rohn suggests, it's wonderful comment. Start a little earlier, work a little harder, stay a little later. You come into the office a little bit earlier. 1 hour of uninterrupted work is the equivalent of 3 hours of work in a busy office environment. So you find opportunities. You come in an hour earlier when no one's there, and you immediately start work, and you can get a...
The key word there is normal, everyday people. I was trying to make other people like me. How pathetic is that? So this mirror would always tell me, my reflection would say, God, you are a pathetic man. How does that feel every day to be this way? So I would just start having myself accountable. How did I attack today? How did I attack yesterday? And if I didn't do something I was proud of, I would write down a sticky note and I would fix it. So then my senior year in high school, it was a totally different David Goggins.
Work at lunchtime, but everybody goes for lunch, everything quiets down. Don't go for lunch because everybody else is. Use that time to get on top of things. Don't stay an hour later. What you'll do is you'll beat the traffic coming in, beat the traffic going home. It won't affect your schedule at all, but you'll actually double your productivity. So that's one way. Work longer and harder. The other is work faster. The third way is do things you're better at. Keep asking, what are the things that I am the very best at? Because those are almost invariably the things that pay you the highest hourly rate. So do more and more of the things that you're better at. Now, the fourth task is to get better at your key task. Improving at your key task is critical. It's sort of like skiing. If you're just an amateur skier, you have to go very slowly for fear of falling. The better you get at skiing, the faster you can ski. So since most skiers, kind of measure how many runs did I have today? Well, a good skier can get 10 or 15 runs down the whole mountain. A poor skier may only get 5 or 6.
What brings me joy and happiness is knowing how beautiful the mind is. And I'm one of the few people that didn't read about it, didn't experience it through some drug. If you don't know who you are, I can't tell you who you are. We are all great. No matter if you think you're dumb, no matter if you think you're fat, no matter if you are fat, no matter if you've been bullied, or no matter if you just got back from Iraq or Afghanistan and you have no legs or your arms or whatever, man, we all have greatness. You got to find the courage. You got to find the courage to put your Bose headphones on and silence the noise out of this world and to find it. And to find it because it's out there, but it's going to take hard work, courage, self-discipline.
Your information needs to go to the next level. Your relationships need to go to the next level. To be a shock is about how you move, how you operate. How do you navigate? You have to be disciplined every single day and train yourself to follow through on all your fundamentals. And that's how you're going to be successful. You have to do it when you don't feel like you have to. Do it when you feel discouraged. You have to do it. When you don't feel healthy, you have to do it. When you're under the weather every single day, you have to train yourself to focus and commit to your business and follow through, fighting for your future, fighting for your dreams, fighting for success. When you come over depression, you raise your arms like a champ. When you overcome bankruptcy, raise your arms in victory.
Success is an obligation. Responsible. What did I tell you? I'm responsible for my wife's health. I'm responsible for the home. Listen to me, my wife ain't never do nothing with my kids in school. She was like, you take that. I was so dumb, I didn't even realize she was giving me stuff. I'm just being real. When you stuck on stupid, you don't even see it. She said it on the podcast, sometimes when you so close to a thing, you can't even see it. Sometimes when you so close to a thing and people trying to tell you, you can't see it because you're too close to it. And I dare you to study, and we don't want to study because we don't want to discover what we need to change. Invest money. Read and study. Guys, I got my PhD, master's degree, 4-year degree.
And you know the old saying that some people think they think, and the great majority would rather die than think. But the discipline of clear thinking is the most important because the way you think, the quality of your thinking determines the quality of your decisions and choices. Your decisions and choices determine the actions you take. The actions you take determine your results. Your results determine the quality of your life. And it all starts with your thinking clearly. Thomas Edison once said that thinking is the hardest discipline of all. It requires real effort to think because, especially today, we are so surrounded with distractions. I'm always amazed when I go down the street or fly or drive as people seem totally immersed in listening to things. They've got devices in their ears and stuff on their cell phone, and they're listening to music in their car, and they're watching television. They simply cannot stop bombarding their mind with sensory input. And of course, when you're doing that, it is impossible for you to think well.
Don't you ever lose hope. Don't you ever give up your mindset. Sharks are powerful creatures. You've got to think different. You've got to be different if you want to be at the top of your food chain. So how will you show up on game day instead of feeling down about your situation? Try to figure out what you can do to create positive momentum for yourself. Even at your lowest point, even at your lowest moment, there is something that you can do to create a small win. Now your small win might not be the same. That's my small win. Your small win might simply be getting out of the bed.
Let me tell you what school did. Everybody like, you don't need to go to school. Some of us need to go to school. Why? Because I never knew how to read and study. Studying is a discipline. There are things that just don't come by osmosis. It's a discipline. And the videos blew up. TGIM blew up. Why? Because of the three of us, Carl had the most C, and Carl was a biology major. So he would literally take the videos in and dissect them like he was in the lab. Business is a science. Marriage is a science. Parenting is a science. Health is a science. For real, you got to read and study, y'all. It's a science.
To think well requires that you practice a couple of techniques. Now, first of all, as Peter Drucker said, you need to take time to think. You need to create long, unbroken chunks of time. The rule is that fast decisions are usually wrong decisions. Especially fast decisions involving people or money are usually wrong decisions. So if you're going to make a decision that has long-term consequences, then you have to give it a lot of thought. You have to sort of look at it like a beautiful piece of porcelain. You look at it from every single side and think about it carefully. And the more carefully you think about a decision, the better the quality of that decision will be when you finally make it. How many times have you said, you know, if I just thought about that a little bit more, I wouldn't have done it? Or if I just thought a bit better, or I just taken time to think? Well, superior people, through experience and through painful experience, learn to take their time in making important decisions.
Your small win might be going to the gym. Your small win might be making one more phone call or getting up an hour earlier to put in some extra work. You have to believe that you control your destiny. Don't put that responsibility on anyone else but you. Something is happening. Something is taking place. The seeds that you've sown there is still working for you. The time and energy you sacrifice, they are not in vain when you plant food, which is really your goal. You have to nurture it. You have to protect it. You can't do one set crunches and expect. You have a six-pack. You've got to show up every day. You've got to show up day after day. You've got to show up when you're motivated. You've got to show up when you're feeling unmotivated.